Xiao Yin finally sighed in relief as the gradual disappearance of the brutal feeling within his heart. He hesitated for a moment before his eyes once again carefully turned towards Qing Lin's back. This time, however, he was much more careful. He locked his mind, and a purple-brown flame slowly spread from within his body. The mysterious tattoo on Qing Lin's smooth back within the faint rise-hot fog of the pool also became partially visible. The snake eyes of the nine-headed snake were once again shut. Hence, the kind of unexpected change from earlier did not appear once again. Xiao Yin knitted his brows slightly. He focused intently on the mysterious tattoo. The tattoo should be quite big, as only a portion of the nine-headed snake's body was revealed above the surface of the water. Clearly, its curled body was still under the water. Xiao Yin focused on this mysterious nine-headed snake. His heart felt quite lost. He had never heard of a magical beast of such a shape in this current continent. Moreover, from the fierce aura that seemed to spread from this magical beast that caused him to be without any defense when he was caught off guard, it was obvious that this was not an ordinary magical beast. This thing, just what exactly it is? Xiao Yin knitted his brows tightly. However, he was still at a loss a moment later. This strange shape. Even a 9 serene deep-ground python did not look like this, no? Xiao Yin could only helplessly shake his head and suppress his doubt within his heart after thinking for a long time in a futile manner. When Qing Lin wakes up, he could ask her. She should be aware of the exact situation. This thought flashed across Xiao Yin's heart, and he also ceased these futile thoughts. He glanced at the color within the pool and once again took out a small jade bottle from his storage ring. He poured out some pale red liquid from within, attempting to completely remove the Emperor Python heart-eroding poison from Qing Lin's body involved quite a complicated process. Fortunately, Xiao Yin was currently considered a true alchemist guru. Should it be someone else, it was likely that the person might really not possess the ability to help Qing Lin remove the poison. Although Xiao Yin was clearly aware that attempting to get rid of the Emperor Python heart-eroding poison was extremely troublesome and time-exhausting, he did not expect that he would spend 4 days. Xiao Yin had remained within the cave during these 4 days. The number of medicinal ingredients that had been thrown into the pool had numbered to over a couple hundred. A frighteningly pure energy permeated the pool. Finally, even the fog itself became viscous. Although time and medicinal ingredients were greatly exhausted, Qing Lin's expression had become increasingly lively under the hot rising energy fog. The slight black vapor that remained between one's brows had also gradually scattered. All of these indicated that the Emperor Python heart-eroding poison within her body was swiftly being removed. During these few days that Xiao Yin had taken care of the poison removal within Qing Lin's body, Xiao Yin had also paid attention to the mysterious tattoo on her back. After a couple of days of observation, he discovered that there seemed to be an increasing amount of energy being poured into Qing Lin's body. That mysterious 9-headed snake tattoo had also become increasingly clear. Even the snake eyes of the 9 heads had slowly opened a little. It was this slight opening of the snake eyes that would cause Xiao Yin to unwittingly sense a trace of violence being spread within his heart. Fortunately, his mental strength was strong, and he could ignore the effects of the unusual 9-headed snake. After experiencing these changes, Xiao Yin also became increasingly curious towards the mysterious tattoo. This thing ought to be something from the ancient times. However, it was likely that the current Doqi continent no longer had such a magical beast. Otherwise, Xiao Yin would definitely have at least heard something about it. While Xiao Yin was curious, he also understood that the most important thing was to resolve the poison within Qing Lin's body first. Hence, he calmed his heart and continued to wait. This kind of bitter care continued for 3 days more before those eyes of Qing Lin, which had been shut for 7 days, finally showed some activity. Blub blub. The faint red pool water continued to emit water bubbles within the pool. Hot air rose, and one could vaguely see a lovely, graceful figure. During these 10 years, the little girl from back then had already become a vibrant and alluring person. Xiao sat on a rock beside the pool. His shut eyes were also slowly opened. He could sense that a slight unusual activity had appeared within the pool at this moment. Is it about to complete? Xiao softly muttered to himself. He suddenly heard a splashing water sound being emitted from the pool. Immediately, he became stunned and was just about to stand up when the entire cave suddenly shook intensely. What happened? Xiao expression changed slightly. He hurriedly stood up and his eyes paused on the pool that was covered by fog. The activity was emitted from that spot. Xiao narrowed his eyes. He stared intently at the interior of the pool. There seemed to be an enormous outline that was vaguely visible within the fog. Xiao frowned slightly as he sensed this kind of unusual change. The dou qi within his body was circulated rapidly. The spreading energy fog suddenly wiggled when the dou qi was being circulated within Xiao body. Immediately, a head-sized strange eye appeared out of nowhere. 3 small dots were enlarged within the eye that was filled with green light. Finally, they transformed into 3 demonic like emerald flowers that surrounded the eyes and rotated rapidly. Triple jade green snake flower pupils. Xiao heart tightened immediately upon seeing the appearance of the demonic eye. His body suddenly rushed backward in a reflex-like action. Puff! Xiao body had just pulled back when that demonic eye suddenly exploded. An enormous figure rushed out from within the pool. It pounced towards Xiao with lightning-like speed. Xiao immediately inhaled a breath of cold air as he looked at the enormous figure that pounced over. It was an enormous snake that possessed 9 savage snake heads. The body of the snake head was dark red in color. It was just like fresh blood that had been sedimented for a countless number of years. At a glance, a ferocious aura that was difficult to describe spread out from it. The enormous snake shook its 9 ferocious heads. The 18 demonic eyes of the snake head had actually become blood red in color at this moment. Moreover, the most mysterious thing was that the interior of these blood-red eyes was actually the same as the triple jade-green snake flower pupils that Qinglin used. Xiao focused intently on the 9-headed snake that charged over explosively towards him. His eyes flicked. A moment later, he suddenly cried out sternly when the snake was about to pounce onto his body, "Qinglin!" This cry of Xiao was accompanied by dou qi. It was just like a thunder that exploded within the cave, causing the cave to shake violently. The enormous body of the 9-headed snake also trembled under this cry. A struggling expression suddenly surfaced within its blood-red eyes. A moment later, the blood redness actually rapidly faded. An emerald green color slowly recovered. Qi. Following the appearance of that jade green color, the enormous body of the 9-head snake suddenly erupted into a wave of powerful glow. Its body also shrunk rapidly. Immediately, it transformed into a small body that violently fell from the midair. Xiao body flashed when he saw Qinglin's body falling. He grabbed the tiny waist of Qinglin. That soft, boneless feeling caused his heart to fluctuate a little. He hurriedly calmed his mind before looking at Qinglin, who was awakening in a lost manner, and said, "Are you all right?" Qinglin, who was slowly opening her eyes, looked at Xiao who was within close proximity. She was initially startled. The feeling that was transmitted from her body caused her face to redden with a thump sound. She hurriedly escaped from Xiao hand and hid behind a stone pillar with a flash. Xiao involuntarily rubbed his nose when he heard the shuffling sound that was emitted from behind the stone pillar. He felt a little embarrassed. Only after Qinglin wore her clothes did she walk out from behind the stone pillar with a reddened face. Xiao coughed dryly when he saw her fiery red earlobes. He hurriedly asked with a serious expression, "What happened back then? That thing?" Lin was startled when she heard this. Immediately, she crossed her small hands together and spoke timidly. "That is the soul of the ancient heaven serpent." Ancient heaven serpent? Xiao was stunned. He had heard of the ancient heaven serpent. It was rumored that this was one of the ancient snake magical beast ancestors. It possessed the ability to destroy the world. It was rumored that it was a magical beast that could be considered on the same level as the ancient heaven phoenix. However, the number of this ancient heaven serpent was smaller than even the heaven phoenix. Hence, it had been extinct since the ancient times. There was even less need to mention about it now. That is not right. I remember that the ancient books do not mention that this ancient heaven serpent possesses 9 heads. This is a mutated ancient heaven serpent. I am also unaware of why it is like this. When I have arrived at the Central Plains back then, I had accidentally entered an ancient mountain range and found the skeleton of an ancient heaven serpent. In my curiosity, I end up using the triple jade-green snake flower pupils. How could I expect that I would actually summon a spiritual body? Lin's small face was bitter as she said, "It is very difficult to tame this thing. It does not listen to me even though I have used the triple jade-green snake flower pupils. At times, it will come out and cause trouble. Fortunately, with the increase in my strength, the resistance of this thing is also becoming increasingly weak. It is likely that I will easily be able to control it very soon." Xiao face was stunned. Controlling a mutated ancient heaven serpent? This thing, it was an existence that was comparable to the ancient heaven phoenix. Should it grow in the future, it would even be able to fight against an elite doshang. Didn't you say that your triple jade-green snake flower pupils is unable to control those snake-form magical beasts that possess an ancient bloodline? If this ancient heaven serpent possessed a body, I will indeed be unable to control it. However, this fellow is merely a spirit. Moreover, it is not that I have taken the initiative to control it. Instead, it wishes to stay on me. Lin spoke helplessly. There are only 2 types of top-tier snake-form magical beasts that truly possess a royal bloodline during the ancient times. One is the ancient heaven serpent while the other is the heaven-swallowing python. The current 9 serene deep-ground python is merely their descendants. Heaven-swallowing python? Xiao lifted his eyebrows almost immediately when he heard this name. He seemed to remember that after Kai Lin's evolution, she appeared to be a 7-colored heaven-swallowing python. The poison within your body should have been resolved, right? Xiao shook his head, glanced at Lin and asked. Lin nodded. She smilingly said, "Currently, my strength has also reached that of a 1-star Dozun. If I use the triple jade-green snake flower pupils, it is likely that I would be able to control a snake-form magical beast that has reached the strength of a 4-star Dozun." Xiao involuntarily shook his head helplessly when he heard this. This girl's triple jade-green snake flower pupils was indeed too frightening. Even without mentioning its ability to control snake-form magical beast, just smoothly controlling that ancient heaven serpent's spirit alone in the future would definitely greatly strengthen her fighting strength. Since the poison has been resolved, let's leave. Xiao waved his hand. He turned his body and walked towards the exit of the cave. Since Lin's problem was resolved, it should be time to begin refining a body for Yao Lao. Yao Lao sat on the leader's seat in the spacious large hall. His eyes were shut. Vast and mighty spiritual strength vibrated around his body, causing the surrounding space to form some slight distortion. The current Yao Lao might not have a much greater spiritual strength than before, but the fluctuating spiritual strength gave one a feeling of being filled with life. It appeared as though it possessed an even greater liveliness than the spiritual strength of the past. "Teacher, Is it possible for you to replenish your essence spiritual aura? Xiao Yin, who had received the news, hurriedly walked into the large hall. His eyes glanced at Yao Lao on the leader's seat. With his current ability, Xiao Yin was naturally able to sense the change in Yao Lao's current spiritual strength. Immediately, he spoke in a joyous manner. Yao Lao slowly opened his eyes. He looked at Xiao Yin, who was swiftly walking over before smiling and nodding his head. He said, "The golden grade soul baby fruit's medicinal effect is unexpectedly strong. My essence spiritual aura has once again recovered to the peak. Then the matter of refining a body can begin, right?" Xiao Yin spoke somewhat anxiously. "Refining a body still requires various different ingredients," Yao Lao smilingly replied. "You can rest assured. This disciple has already gathered all these ingredients during these years," Xiao Yin smilingly said. He flicked his finger, and a jade bottle appeared in his hand. A dragon eye large medicinal pill was rotating and dripping. A pill fragrance that was so rich, it was impossible to recover, spread out from within it. This caused one's mind to be braced. "This is Tier 8 medicinal pill?" A surprise immediately surfaced in Feng Zunja's eyes, as he said when he looked at the medicinal pill. "Yes, moreover, it is a Tier 8 medicinal pill that has experienced 5 pill lightning." Yao Lao nodded slowly. He immediately revealed the number of pill lightning colors that this medicinal pill had experienced. Immediately, he looked at Xiao Yin in a pleased manner and said, "Your alchemist skill has not been neglected during these years. Haha, old fellow, you can rest assured about this. Xiao Yin is also a pill-gathering champion. He is not any lousier than you when you were young." Feng Zunja fondled his beard and laughed out loud. "Teacher, this is the bone-growing blood-fusing pill." Xiao Yan's finger was gently flicked onto the jade bottle, and the latter slowly drifted in front of Yao Lao. Immediately, Xiao Yan took out another transparent jade bottle again. There was a couple of green-red drops of blood within the jade bottle. A frighteningly pure energy spread from within it. This is the essence blood of a heaven demon phoenix. It might lack in quantity, but it will be of big use. Xiao Yin smilingly said. This was naturally the essence blood that Xiao Yin had refined from the heaven demon phoenix bones back then. As for a skeleton, I have one that belongs to the peak of the Do Zone class. Xiao Yin waved his hand randomly. A corpse that was sealed in ice appeared within the large hall. The only one amongst these 3 ingredients that Xiao Yin was dissatisfied with was this skeleton. If it was in the past, he might feel a little joy at the skeleton of someone at the peak of the Do Zone class. However, with the rise in his level, a skeleton of such a strength was no longer able to attract Xiao Yan's notice. Cuckoo, if it is a skeleton, I do have one that belongs to a 4-star Do Zone here, Feng Zunja by the side laughed. He waved his sleeve and a coffin landed on the ground. There was a pale gray skeleton within the coffin. A faint fluorescence was flowing over the body of the skeleton. This is an enemy of mine in the past. He subsequently died in my hands. I was afraid that no one would deal with his corpse, so I ended up helping him keep it. Xiao Yin was involuntarily a little speechless when he heard Feng Zunja's casual tone. It seemed that Feng Zunja possessed quite a great enmity with this person. Otherwise, he would not deal with the other person's corpse. All of these 3 ingredients are of top quality. The materials that we refine from them should be able to allow Yao Qin to recover to his previous peak strength. However, I wonder if he will be able to break through the Do Zun class and reach the Do Sheng class. Feng Zunja fondled his beard and voiced his thoughts. Difficult. Yao Lao shook his head. Do Zun and Do Sheng were 2 completely different levels. An elite Do Zun could be considered a true top-tier expert in the continent. A Do Sheng, on the other hand, stood at the peak of a golden pagoda. Given the foundation of the Central Plains, elite Do Zuns could be considered few, but they were not especially rare. However, an elite Do Sheng was entirely different. Just take Xiao Yin as an example. Despite him having arrived at the Central Plains for so many years, he had yet to meet a genuine elite Do Sheng. Of course, the precondition of this was that one did not include the Do Sheng skeleton that Xiao Yin had met in the ancient remains. That thing merely had a little remnant elite Do Sheng spirit. It could not be considered a true expert. Even though this was the case, the skeleton that had lost traces of life caused Xiao Yin, old ghost Zhaixing, and the other experts to appear extremely miserable. They nearly ended up falling in an unexpected situation. Through this case, it was possible to vaguely observe just how frightening a genuine Do Sheng was. That level truly possessed the great might to destroy the heavens and earth. Since the ingredients are all gathered, we should act tomorrow. The earlier Yao Qin recovers his peak strength, the less the falling star pavilion needs to worry about the revenge by the Hall of Soul. A branch hall of the Hall of Soul was destroyed, and it was taken advantage of within the ancient remains. Given the way the Hall of Soul does things, it would definitely not easily swallow such a great loss. Feng Zunjie voiced his thoughts.
Yes.
Xiao Yin and Yao Lao nodded. Currently, everything might appear calm, but it was obvious that this was the calm before the storm. After deciding with Yao Lao on the time to refine a body, Xiao Yin returned to his quarters due to it being late. Once he returned to his room, he sat on the bed and mused for a moment. He flipped his hand and 3 jade white ribs appeared within his palm. The 3 ribs were naturally those that Xiao Yin had ripped from the skeleton. Inside it hid the secrets of the Tian class Do technique. However, ever since he returned to the Falling Star Pavilion, he had yet to carefully observe it due to him busily removing the poison from Qing Lin. After hearing Feng Zunjie mention the matter of the Hall of Soul taking revenge soon, his heart had also become a little pressured. When faced with such a large faction, he must ultimately raise his own combat strength. The best method to raise one's fighting strength was naturally to practice high-class Do techniques. The legendary Tian class Do technique was very strong. Even at this moment, Xiao Yin was unable to forget the terrifying strength that was created when the Do Sheng skeleton had unleashed the Tian class Do technique back then. The ribs felt cool when it entered Xiao Yan's hands. It did not possess the kind of rough feeling of a bone. Instead, it appeared just like a perfect jade when one touched it, appearing smooth and cool, giving one an extremely wonderful feeling. The ribs were covered by tiny mysterious characters. These characters were unusually mysterious. It gave one an obscure feeling. Xiao Yin carefully observed the 3 ribs in detail. He remembered those mysterious characters in his mind, but he was unable to decipher them. Looks like an ordinary method will not be able to open these ribs. Xiao Yan's face revealed an expression of deep thought. A moment later, he placed the ribs gently on his forehead. Spiritual strength spread out. However, it was directly reflected back when it touched the ribs. Xiao Yin was immediately startled before he sighed in relief. There is actually a seal on the surface of the bone. Xiao Yin clenched his hand after he had this thought. Purple-brown flame curled and rose from his palm, after which it wrapped around 3 white jade-like ribs. A frightening temperature swiftly caused the air within the room to become dry. Sizzle, sizzle. The frightening flame crazily grilled the bone. However, this seemingly weak bone did not move even a little. Its color did not even change a little. Xiao Yin was not surprised at this situation. If it was so easy to break a seal placed by an elite Do Sheng, it would appear far too much like child's play. Xiao Yin maintained a calm mood. He steadily allowed the 3,000 lotus heart flame to continue grilling the 3 ribs. He slowly shut his eyes and actually directly entered his training mode. The purple-brown flame burned fiercely within the room. The 3 ribs within it also vaguely emitted a faint glow. This grilling continued from the evening to late into the night, lasting for nearly 10 hours. Under the crazy burning by the 3,000 lotus heart flame, the 3 ribs gradually changed a little. The kind of jade-white color also slowly became pale. A kind of deep dark golden color replaced it. If one was to look carefully, one would find a strange ripple quietly spreading under the golden light. Qi. A strange sound of flowing liquid was suddenly emitted from within the quiet room. Xiao Yan's tightly shut eyes were also slowly opened at this moment. His eyes looked towards the flame in front of him before becoming startled. The flame at this moment no longer had any traces of the ribs within. Only a strange dark golden liquid remained. The liquid slowly flowed within the flame. It appeared to possess its own intelligence and would occasionally gather into various strange shapes. Was this the manner after the seal has been opened? Xiao Yan muttered softly. He hesitated for a moment before inhaling a deep breath of somewhat dry air. His hand was gently extended, after which it reached into the flame and paused for a moment. Finally, a finger was inserted into the dark golden liquid. Sizzle, sizzle. Xiao Yan's finger was inserted into the liquid, and a change occurred. One could see the liquid suddenly wiggling intensely, after which it firmly winded around Xiao Yan's finger. It wrapped around his entire hand in an instant. Hiss! The dark golden liquid wrapped around Xiao Yan's right hand. An intense pain that could not be contained was suddenly transmitted from his palm. This caused Xiao Yan's face to twitch. After being wrapped by the dark golden liquid, his hand actually began to wiggle strangely. The sound of bone being pressed together that was also emitted. My hand is about to be crippled. The squeezing feeling became increasingly intense. Just when Xiao Yan thought that his hand would be squeezed until it was shattered, the intense pain suddenly came to a halt. The dark golden liquid also flowed into his hand like floodwater and swiftly disappeared. Xiao Yan did not even have the time to be stunned by this strange scene before his head suddenly shook at this moment. A golden light vaguely surfaced in his eyes. A low and deep muttered sound was also emitted from his mouth. This is Great Heaven Creation Palm.